Today we're going to be trying the Baker's Square Keto All-Purpose Baking Mix to make a low-carb option for apricot cobbler. So I've preheated my oven and I've sprayed my pan with some cooking spray, and now I'm just going to put the cobbler together. So this particular baking mix I bought at Aldi. It's kind of a keto-friendly all-purpose baking mix. It only has 2 net carbs per quarter cup. So we have put in a 1 1/4 cups of baking mix. And to that we're going to add a 1/2 cup of almond milk and a 1/2 cup of water. And we're just going to mix that up, and then we're going to kind of let this sit for a little bit while we cut up our apricots, and just let that kind of take effect. Okay, after mixing, we're just going to set this aside, and then we're going to cut our apricots. Now these apricots have already been cleaned, and I've gone through them really good, but I always like to look inside just to make sure there's no bugs or worms. You never know. These are organic apricots and they came right off the tree. So I'm just going to take these apricots and quarter them, and I'm going to put them on the bottom of the baking dish. Now these apricots are actually going to cook down. They're going to become very soft and very delicious. There's a lot of natural sugar in apricots, and they're actually a very low carb fruit. In each apricot, they only have 3 net carbs because of the fiber. And then on top of that, they're also a very good source of vitamin A. So even on a low carb diet, you should try to incorporate some fruit and definitely vegetables into your diet, because the whole point of dieting, obviously we all want to lose weight, but we want to be healthy while we're doing it. So as you can see, these apricots are not being peeled. I'm just, cutting them up just like they are. And I'm using quite a few because we aren't adding a lot of sugar to our mixture, but we are going to have a nice, sweet taste because of these really ripe apricots. Okay, when you're all done cutting up your apricots, it should look like this. At this time, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of monk fruit, and I'm just going to sprinkle that right on top of the apricots. Now, if you have never had monk fruit, you're in for a surprise. It's really good, it's really sweet, and it's just a lot more healthy as far as, not having all that sugar. So the next step is we're going to take our baking mix and we're going to pour that right on top of our apricot cobbler. Now the fruit, as it cooks, is going to come out, and this cobbler will kind of all come together. This will make a little bit of a crust. Put a tablespoon of brown sugar. I'm actually going to use my hands and kind of sprinkle that on top. There you go. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter that have been cut into little cubes, and we're going to put that all over our baking mix. Just like so. We're going to put it in a 350-degree oven. We're going to cook it anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll take a look at it then and see how it looks. So making that cobbler really didn't even make a dent in all the apricots that I've been picking. And I have actually so many apricots on that tree. So I decided another thing that I'm going to do to preserve my apricots is I'm going to put them through a food processor. I'm going to blend them up, and then I'm going to pre-measure them into bags, just like I do my sugar pie pumpkins for bread. Now I do a really good recipe for a sugar pie pumpkin sweet bread at the holidays. I'm gonna do the same thing with the apricots. I'm gonna measure 3.5 cups into a Ziploc bag, and then we're going to freeze those, and they'll be available whenever we start our baking for the holidays. And we may do this a couple times throughout the summer. So the only thing I'm gonna do different with the sugar pie pumpkins, I just bake them, I scoop everything out, kind of blend it together, and I put it in the bags. With the apricots, I'm actually gonna add a tablespoon of bottled lemon juice, just so that I can preserve the color even through freezing. So first I'm gonna add a tablespoon of bottled lemon juice to my mix. Then again, I'm going to start cutting up my apricots, and I'm just gonna put as many as I can fit in here just to make these, it's basically gonna be like a pureed apricot. So I think this will come out really good for baking. It's just another way that I can preserve my apricots. I've canned some apricots yesterday. I made some cherry apricot jam yesterday. I mean, I've been really busy with these apricots, but you know, I really don't want to lose any of this wonderful harvest that I have. At least, you know, not as much as possible. This was actually one that was pretty ripe, but it's still good. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this going, and I'll show you how it looks just as soon as I'm closer to getting this put into a bag and measuring them. Alrighty, so I've got my mixture here. I'm just going to pour it into a 1 cup measuring cup, because I need 3.5 cups of this mixture to make 1 recipe of my bread. So there's 1 cup. Looks like we're gonna get about 1.5 cups per load in this little food processor. So I really like this little food processor. It's just a little KitchenAid, works really good. It's got a chop cycle and it's got a puree cycle, and it's just nice to take out when you have smaller things. So there you go, 3.5 cups of apricot puree. That's gonna make some wonderful bread. I can actually think of all kinds of things I can make with it. Muffins, bread, all kinds of stuff. So I was able to get 4 bags of 3.5 cups each of this apricot puree. So this is I could do 10 times this. I have so many apricots, it's not even funny, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in the freezer, and I think my cobbler is about ready to take out. So my cobbler is done. I just took it out of the oven. It looks and smells absolutely amazing. Let me show you what I got. So this is my apricot cobbler. It's very hot. It actually took close to about 45 minutes to cook it. I was surprised it took so long for such a tiny cobbler. If you cut this into 9 portions, which is basically a very nice sized portion, it's gonna come out to about 6 carbs per portion. So I'm gonna give it a try. I'm just gonna let it cool down a couple minutes, and then I'll let you know what I think. Okay, I've got a nice, you can see it's a nice size piece of cobbler. It's just under 6 carbs, and I'm gonna give it a try. Smells yummy. Wow. That is so good. Oh my gosh. It's hot because I couldn't wait. It's so sweet from the ripe fruit. Honestly, you really probably wouldn't even need any sugar. But I'm glad I got the sugar because I love sugar. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am so glad you took time out of your day to come along and see how to make a low-carb keto cobbler and review the Baker's Square keto recipe from Aldi. and also that we were able to get some more apricots preserved by pureeing them and putting them in the freezer. So see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.